All right, today's problem is jewels and stones. And in this problem, we have a bag of stones, and we want to find out how many of these stones are actually jewels. And the way we do that is we read this J string, and each character in here tells us for this type of stone, this is actually a jewel. So in this case, it's small a and big A. So we have a total of 3 jewels in this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create some sort of a map to figure out if something is a jewel or not. So we want some sort of a map that goes from a character into a boolean, which tells us if this is yes, a jewel, or no. Now usually what you can do is you can use a hash set, but in this case we can actually go ahead and make this a boolean array instead. And we want to capitalize on the fact that characters are just ASCII values, and ASCII values are limited between 0 and 127. So we want to do something like this. And then what we want to do now is we want to read through every character in our string J. So maybe something like this. And then what we can do now is for this character, we're going to set it to true, that it is a jewel. So what's happening here is when we index into a character, this character is converted into the decimal format. So for example, for a capital A, it becomes 65. And as we made our Boolean array to have a size of 128, it can handle everything in our ASCII table here, which includes everything from capital letter A to Z and small a to Z. Okay. So now that we have a mapping of what is a jewel or not, all that's left to do is to read our actual stones. So this is every stone. So S to charArray. And now we need to keep track of our total, so how many we've seen, and then we'll return this total at the end. And then all we'll do is if is jewel, so if this stone is a jewel, then total plus plus. And then at the end we return. All right, looks good. So let's go over the runtime a little bit. So you can see here we have a loop for our J. So this will have O of J. So assuming that J is the length of J. And then here we're reading the character S. So here we have O of S. So in total, our runtime is going to be O of J plus S. So whichever one is longer. And then what about the space complexity? For the space complexity, you can see here we actually use a constant amount of space. We're always using 127, and this doesn't scale with how many jewels we have or how many stones we have. So that means space here is constant. All right. Well, that's the end of day 2, and I'll see you on the next one.